Hey, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a look at processing in mid and side in Logic Pro. Um, some plugin manufacturers enable their plugins to process in mid-side mode, so you can process the mid channel separately from the side channel and vice versa. But not every plugin has that capability. But I'm here to tell you that in Logic Pro, you don't need to have that because the capability is built into Logic Pro, and I'm going to show you how to do just that. So over here we have some music loops, a drum loop, some keys, and a pad. All right, and we're just going to process these three individually to give you different examples of what you could do with plugins that are not natively able to process in mid-side and enable them to process mid-side within Logic Pro. So with this drum loop, let's say you want to add some saturation, but your particular saturation plugin does not have mid-side capabilities. So for instance, this is Clevgrand's Reamp, right? If you just load it up like this, it will load up in default stereo mode. But what you need to do in the plugin menu when you select your plugin is load it in dual mono. So by default, it will load a left and a right channel. So a mono left channel and a mono right channel. What you need to do is go up here, this little icon, and it'll give you an option down here in the pull-down menu to switch to mid-side. So now you have the mid channel and the side channel processed separately or individually. Let's just say I want to boost the sides a bit in the high frequencies, and in the mid, I want to saturate the lows a bit more. So for now, I'm just going to tweak these input and output settings because I don't want the coloration to be too much. I know this plugin, so I know that when the signal's coming in hot, like with these drums, if you have it set to default here, that's going to be too much, to my taste. Let's just see what this sounds like, just at default settings, just before and after. And off. So you see, it's already doing a lot to the sound. And for saturation, I really love this plugin. I'm going to enable oversampling for them both, the mid and the side channel. Leave the harmonics to default. And the fun starts now when we just, let's say for the mid channel, I want it set to a tape style saturation, but for the sides, I want a tube preamp. Okay, let's start with the sides. I want less lows in there in the sides and more high harmonic content. So for those of you that don't know this plugin, the top row here sets the drive or the saturation per band. The bottom row, that just acts as an EQ, so the post level. So increase the amount of highs or increase the amount of high saturation. All right, let's set these back to default and mess with the side channel. Okay, so now I've increased the saturation in the mids and the highs in the side channel. Now let's hear before and after, without, and with. But in the mids, I want to do something as well to the lows. Give it a bit more drive here and there. So without. And with. So you could tell the stereo image is a bit wider. Of course, the saturation going on all over the place, but the mid and the side channels, so the center image is saturated differently from the side image. And I don't know if you can tell, if you notice this, but in the meter here, in Logic Pro's meter, the peak level is also lower with the saturation enabled, even though it sounds louder. And that's because saturation alters the perceived loudness, but eats up a bit of the peak level. See, with it on, the peak level is at minus 1.3. Without it, it goes to plus 0.4. Okay, let's skip to another example. Let's process these keys. Now, these already sound very wide. It's basically just what I've said here in Vital. The spread is already up all the way, so it makes full use of the complete stereo image, and it has some chorus and delay effects in here and a little bit of reverb, which of course makes it sound very wide. But what I want to do is I want to load up an EQ plugin. Where is it? Oh, yeah. Now, I've called this EQ Tilt. We have to do dual mono, obviously, to enable mid-side later on. And it's basically just a free plugin from Plugin Alliance from Elysia, and it's the Nevo filter. And that one doesn't have mid-side mode. It's just a very simple shelving EQ plugin. But in this case, I want to apply a different shelved EQ to the sides and another one to the mids. So let's enable mid-side here. And what I want to do is actually detract the high frequencies a bit from the mid. So the mid only mostly has the bass frequencies, and the side channel mostly has the low, mid, and high frequencies. Without it, and with it. See how much of a difference that makes in sound? Because if we were just to load this up in default stereo mode and I apply the same dampening of the highs like I would have done in the mid channel previously, it would of course apply to the whole stereo signal. You would just get an overall muffled tone, darker tone. Oh, sorry, I have to disable this one first, obviously. right? So it's equally dull everywhere. But if we do this, if we enable the mid-side one, see that difference? One thing though, what you have to look out for when doing these big differences actually is to check your phase correlation, because let's put in a meter here. And the reason you do this is to check for mono compatibility, because if your phase correlation is all the way in the green, that means when you collapse it to mono, everything's still audible and equally loud as it would in stereo. Because you're altering the mid and the side content here drastically. For instance, there's less energy in the mid channel here now because I've muffled the tone a lot. Only low frequencies are getting through. And a lot of the high energy, low mids and the highs are off to the sides. So that can alter your phase correlation. So if you go too far with that, then it will sound weird if you collapse it to mono. And then with the extremes, the phase correlation meter will go off into the left, giving a negative phase correlation. You want to make sure you stay off to the right here. So, which in this case, you can see it mostly stays here, so it doesn't even dip into the negative here. Okay, next example. Let's check the pad. Obviously, also very, very stereo because I've set it up here in June. This is June CM. Still good, still cool. It's free, just like Vital. I can't believe what they give away for free these days. It's just a very wide unison pad. So that's obviously spread out a lot, but what this synth plugin doesn't allow you to do is to mono the bass frequencies. So that's actually a mid-side feature. If you have an EQ like this, like Claro, obviously you can, that does have mid-side, so you can just cut out the lows in the side channel, and that will actually mid-side process that. But what we're looking for is an EQ plugin that doesn't have the mid-side. Let's say, yeah, should we do something from Guitar Rig, for instance? All right, Guitar Rig and dual mono, or in this case, mid-side. That's going to be interesting. Let's check out the mid. Let's go for an EQ, solid EQ, and load the same on the side here. There you go. So now we have an EQ loaded that doesn't support mid-side processing native. So remember what I said, this pad is very wide and the bass is off to the side as well. I want it to remain wide, but I want the bass more pulled to the center. So in the side here, we can obviously high pass the signal. Let's let it play and then just process the way I was actually going for, the way I like it, and then you can hear the result. Side channel high pass turn up all the way to 600, so you can immediately tell the whole image is collapsing more to the center and only the very high frequencies are off to the side now. But that's too much. I just want, let's say, from about 300 upwards, I still want those to remain off on the side. right? So the low frequencies are pulled to the center now. There are no remaining low frequencies on the side channels. And with this one, you can even set, hey, I want the side channel to have the G style solid EQ, SSL EQ, and on the mid, we have the E style. I don't know how much that is going to matter unless you're going to EQ the mid channel as well, but let's just do that for shits and giggles anyways. Let's just mess around here. Let's take out some of the high frequencies in the mid channel. And let's increase some of the presence in the side channels to give it that width back again. All right, now let's listen to the before and the after. By the way, if you weren't listening to this on proper headphones, go back, play the video again, and do it, because you can really tell the difference with this, how much bass there is in this patch off to the sides, and how it pulls to the center when we engage this mid-side EQ here. That's it for today. Short and sweet video on mid-side processing. So don't worry about plugin manufacturers. If you're on Logic Pro, don't worry about it. Don't worry about plugin manufacturers not having mid-side mode natively. You know, in Logic Pro, who cares? You can obviously tell by this video that you can just enable that anyway. It's a function of Logic. So, hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful. Stay tuned for the next one. If you haven't already, maybe subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. You'll be notified as soon as a new video comes out. Don't make new videos all that often. Yeah, maybe that's all the more reason to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified and you won't miss it. Okay, thanks for checking it out. Have a good one. See you next time. Cheers.